Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me? We are live. Yeah, we had to go live as quickly as possible. Continue from where we stopped. So yep, live. I hope this is not private. Okay, it's public. And no one is here because I didn't share the link. Give me a second, let me post it. Just give me a second, let me post the live stream. I still remember where I was before any of this. I knew what I was talking about. I'm still on it. I'm still on the page. Yep. This happens. This happens, ladies and gentlemen. And yep. And we are back on the live stream. All right. We have many people with us. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thank you all. Thank you all. I thought it was going to be difficult to get. I hope I'm not buffering anymore. I hope I am no longer buffering. In fact, I say it as a matter of fact. I am no longer buffering. Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. We have, okay. Someone is telling me the volume is good now. I got a notification. Yes, and John. John. Let me see if I can read John. I don't know if he's aware that I have restarted the live stream. So just give me a moment to reach John and also to make a couple of posts for those who are informed about the whole live stream stuff so that they can know. Just bear with me. I will continue shortly. I'll continue very shortly. Okay, so give me a moment. Don't leave me, okay? Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Just give me a moment and I'll get everyone up to speed. Okay, John is back. I didn't even have to send a message. I was about to send the link to John, but John is my man. He's always there. Anyway, so yeah, let's proceed. Let's proceed. As we proceed, all right. Yes, it is no longer buffering. And yes, it is a different. I had to revert to the old stuff because the complaint from this one is becoming too much. So I just said, you know what? Maybe one day I'm going to do a 1 a.m. I'm going to do a 1 a.m. live stream. And then when I do that 1 a.m. live stream, I'm going to use the other program. But yeah, where was I? I was talking about the solution, what I think is the solution to what's happening. What I think is the solution to what is happening in the Middle East. And I remember somebody like Ronek telling me maybe the terrorists should come over to Nigeria and then I would preach the gospel to them. But of course, I know that that's going to be the response. Some people will be like, please, gospel what? I get that response, okay? Ronek, I get your response. I saw it I saw it as one of the last live comments before I ended that live stream. Anyway, so back to what I was saying before I had to end the live stream. I believe strongly that the gospel is going to be the way forward in the Middle East. Without the gospel in the Middle East, the problem is going to continue. And people might say that I'm being naive and that is not a very practical solution. But I think it is. Minial Box says she's late. No, you are not late. You are early. You're very early. You're very, very early. You can see the message from John letting you know that. Welcome everyone and give the video a thumbs up. Yeah, please smash the like button. Subscribe if you're not yet subscribed to the channel. Share this to everyone you shared it to before. Sorry that you have to do this all over again, but please just go ahead and do it. And we'll see how it goes. Okay, just share it. Do everything you need to do. Do all the YouTube stuff you need to do, and let's get this party going. Okay. So yeah, where was I? We just saw from the last live stream, we saw Trump's announcement, we saw his Truth Social post, we saw him talking on Fox News, we saw the news report from NBC News, and we were reading Musab Hassan Youssef's observation and what he thought is how he interprets what is going on. And one of the things he mentioned was that people are going to realize soon after the release of the hostage that the radicalization in Gaza is a fantasy. And I think he has a point to when talking about the radicalization of Gaza, how possible that will be something that we do not know. In fact, I feel it is almost impossible because of how deeply entrenched in Islam these communities are, especially the entire Middle East, but more so Gaza and the West Bank, and also their Islamic-driven hatred for Jews and Christians also. So, it's going to be interesting to see how that will play out. But I suggested, and which is what I did towards the end of the first live stream, I suggested that the way forward is the gospel. The way forward is prayers and the gospel. And I am going to stick to it because I believe it's true. The way forward is prayers and the gospel, prayers and the gospel. And without it, the problem in the Middle East is going to continue. We have to keep praying and we have to keep preaching the gospel. And I don't mean the presence of, I'll be honest with you, and I know Catholics and those in the Eastern Orthodox tradition are going to be upset with me, but I'm going to say it anyway. I feel like one way the Middle East is going to be transformed is if it is introduced, if evangelical Christians continuously infiltrate the Middle East and preach the gospel every nook and cranny of the Middle East. The Catholics and the Eastern Orthodox Church and the Orthodox Church in general have not really been effective in that regard. My understanding of Christianity in the Middle East is it is seen as kind of, it's my tradition, it's my family heritage, it's my custom, it's my way of life. So I just go out. Everybody stick to who they are. You're a Christian, you remain a Christian. You're a Muslim, you just stick to everybody stick to whatever they worship. And I don't think that has been helpful for the Middle East. Now I understand what has created that culture because of essentially what has created that culture is the persecution of Christians in the Middle East, the persecution of Christians in that region, and the view and the treatment of apostates in that region has led to everyone, just stay on your lane, do your thing. The Coptics are on their lane, the Oriental Orthodox Church is on there. Everybody stick to your lane and just stick to your thing. This is your culture, this is who you are. But that is not the kind of Christianity that will save the Middle East. The kind of Christianity that will save the Middle East is the one that will dare to preach the gospel regardless of the danger. And if that does not happen in the Middle East, the problem of Islam is going to persist. I believe that strongly. Until the power of the gospel penetrates the Middle East, carried on the feet of those who are not afraid to lose their lives for the gospel. And by losing their life, I don't mean I'm going to be a Christian and just keep minding my business until ISIS finds me. I mean, I'm going to infiltrate the Muslim community with the gospel. I'm going to be aggressive in spreading it. If that does not happen in the Middle East, you're still going to have the same problem that has always been there. And especially it is needed in Gaza. If the gospel does not penetrate Gaza, if it does not prosper, it's the truth. If the gospel does not prosper in Gaza, de-radicalization is going to be a fantasy, according to Musab Hassan Youssef, or as Musab Hassan Youssef describes it. Now, he's not the one that said the gospel. It's me that said it. I'm the one saying it's the gospel. He's saying the radicalization is a fantasy. And I say, yes, as long as the gospel is not involved, the radicalization is always going to be a fantasy. I believe the same thing even with the conflict in northern Nigeria. I believe that the solution to the conflict in northern Nigeria is for aggressive evangelism in the north, okay? Until Christians really, until the gospel prospers in the north, until the gospel prospers in this region of violence and radical Islam, until the gospel prospers in those regions, we will not see change, we will not see progress, we will not see progress, we will not see peace. Okay? Anyways, moving on. We got a statement from Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer had something to say about, about this. Let's read his statement. This is what the Prime Minister of the UK had to say about the peace, the peace deal. I welcome the news that a deal has been reached on the first stage of President Trump's peace plan for Gaza. This is a moment of profound relief that will be felt all around the world, but particularly for the hostages, their families, and for the civilian population of Gaza, who have all endured unimaginable suffering over the last 2 years. Okay. I am grateful for the tireless diplomatic efforts of Egyptians, Qatar, Turkey, and the United States, supported by our regional partners in securing this crucial first step. This agreement must now be implemented in full without delay and accompanied by the immediate lifting of all the restriction on life-saving humanitarian aid to Gaza. Of course, it's not with the immediate release of the hostages. No, what is it? We all call on all parties to meet the commitment they have made to end the war and to build the foundations for a just and lasting end to the conflict and a sustainable path to a long-term peace. The UK will support this crucial, immediate step and next stage of talks to ensure the full implementation of the peace plan. Keir Starmer, Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. One thing Keir Starmer would not mention is that he and his friends in France and Canada did everything in their power to make sure this peace deal wasn't possible by stupidly recognizing a Palestinian state. But we are not dwelling on the negatives today, okay? We are putting our eyes on the positive. It's sunshine and rainbows today, okay? Sunshine and rainbows. We are going to look at Marco Rubio congratulating Donald Trump for achieving for achieving peace in the Middle East, essentially. So we are going to look at that right now.
One day, perhaps the entire story will be told about the events of yesterday, but suffice it to say, it's not an exaggeration that none of it would have been possible without the President of the United States being involved. It really began with your trip to the Middle East, where these relationships were forged with partners in the region, personal relationships, close relationships that created the foundation where all this was possible. Where I think this really took a turn. Remember, a month ago, no one thought this was possible.
So yeah, everybody was. It kind of happened like in the meeting. Everybody was just raining praises on Donald Trump. That's an example of that. I guess, he. This is his deal. Okay, this is his deal. I think there's also something that Musab Hassan Youssef said that I think is important for us to talk about. Okay, yeah, this is it. Here's another tweet that he made. He said, theory, Trump's Gaza master plan. So here he has this theory of how Trump's Gaza master plan is going to play out and the idea behind it. He said, one, hostage is released. Trump's opening gambit. Hamas loses its leverage and Israel withdraws to a buffer zone. No more urban raids, no more global outrage. Master stroke, Israel escaped the blame cycle. Two, the militarization impossible. Each militia cling to weapons for survival, not against Israel, but against each other over scarce resources. Trump stays clean. Palestinians fail in his plan's conditions. So he's saying Hassan Youssef is not wrong in saying that, the region not being armed conflicts in that region is not going to be possible. Each faction is going to have, without Hamas, this is the truth about Gaza, without Hamas rather, each faction, each family in Gaza is going to just engage in conflict against each other. There's not going to be peace. It's not like you remove Hamas and now you have peace amongst the Palestinians in Gaza. It's that you're going to have more infighting. And each faction is going to cling to their own arms to defeat the other faction. It's going to be essentially kind of like a civil war, although it will not be called such, but it will just be infighting amongst various factions. And that's what Musab is predicting. And another thing he predicts is that aid restricted to cans and water. Rubble sits untouched. 5 years to clear. No order, no infrastructure, only chaos. Trump ensures just enough aid to expose the disorder, not fix it. Then militia clashes or militia clash. The Islamic Jihad versus clans versus faceless gunmen. No Israeli shells, just hunger-fueled infighting. Trump foresaw it. Let survivor instincts drive the chaos. Then number 5, famine narrative collapses. Food arrives, but gunfire erupts. The world sees chaos is Palestinian-made, not Israel's blockade. Trump wins without saying a word. Number 6, tribes torn. Amos, they plead to Israel. Trump greenlit weapon for self-defense, not invasion. Gaza's tribe exact revenge on Hamas, not Israel's fight. Then 7, statehood dreams fade. No one who can manage a food line can govern it. No one who can't manage a food line can govern a nation. Trump's silence outshoots protest. Europe abandons the two-state illusion. Then number 5, evacuation unfolds. No order, no accusation. Families flee because Gaza is uninhabitable, a kill zone. Trump never said empty Gaza. He lets desperation prove his point. 8 moves, 0 misstep. Gulf money pocketed. Hamas choked. Word awakened. Trump lands exactly where he aimed. Gaza relocated on the logical fix. Palestinian violence laid bare, no ethnic cleansing labeled. Of course, this is his. Let me explain everything he's saying. He's saying essentially that what is going to happen is that the hostages will be released, and Palestinians will be, the people in Gaza will be left to their own demise. And when that happens, you're going to see conflict of, great magnitude within the Palestinians themselves. And Gaza is going to become so uninhabitable that people will be forced to leave and relocate. And that has always been the plan all along. That's essentially what he's trying to say. I don't know how true that is, but that's his theory. Somebody is asking me, hey Frank, God bless you. Hi. Oh, okay, you just joined the live stream. Hi to you too. Anyways, also, what else? There have been celebrations in Gaza. Okay, celebrations are going on in Gaza. The Gazans are really loving their this peace deal, and they're celebrating it. There they are. This stuff not playing well. What is wrong with it? It's really not playing well. Let me play another one. Yeah, they are celebrating. Here's another celebration scene.
Honestly, these are indescribable feelings.
Fafo made it to the end of the world. Look at Fafo. Fafo, he made it to the end. Look at him. I don't know if you guys remember this guy. This guy over here. I don't know if you guys can see my mouse. Yeah, you can see my mouse. This guy over here. He made it to the end of the war. Alhamdulillah. Look at him. This guy is a survivor. I'm going to miss him so badly. He made it to the end.
Honestly, these are indescribable feelings. We can't believe it. But thank God the war has ended and we are alive. Honestly, we hope.
Yeah, somebody said lot of starvation visible. Yeah, that's true. You can see that people are clearly starving. You can see that they've been starving. It's not easy. You can see the face of starvation as they are talking about how happy they are that this ceasefire agreement has been reached.
The war does not come back, and for this to be really the end, with no death and destruction afterwards.
Hey, I look at Fafo. Fafo, my guy. Fafo. Look at him. Look at him. He made it to the end. Now he's a press guy. He's now part of Gaza press corps. Look at him. This guy is a survivor.
Hopefully people would return, build their houses, and life returns to how it was, God willing.
Oh, here is the starvation, guys. Here is proof of that starvation they keep telling us. This is proof that Gaza is starving. As you can see them sharing meat.
خدمة للقضية الفلسطينية قطاع غزة اسمحوا من الله تبدأ الحالة.
All right, so yeah, that's the reporting from Reuters. And which other celebratory scene do we see from Gaza? Here's another one. Oh, look at the starving children of that's the starving children of Gaza celebrating. You can see that they were clearly starving. You can see that they were clearly, going through. Look at somebody has an iPhone. Look at that iPhone. Look at that. Look at that very expensive iPhone that people have during a genocide. Alhamdulillah. All right, enough of that. So moving on. Moving on. What else do I show here? Yeah, now that the war is coming to an end, hopefully, the UN is now being truthful. You know, if you can believe it, the UN have finally decided to speak the truth for the first time in a very long time. And here's the headline coming out today. The UN says it has enough stock to feed entire Gaza for 3 months. Wow, I thought they didn't have, there was no humanitarian aid. The United Nations Agency for Palestinian Refugees, that's UNRWA, on Thursday, welcomed the ceasefire deal between Israel and Hamas and said it was ready to flood Gaza with desperately needed food. News that Israel and Hamas have agreed to the first phase of the Gaza ceasefire is a huge relief, UNRWA chief Felipe Lazzarini said on X. The agreement followed a 20-point peace plan, blah, blah, blah. The UNRWA chief said his agency has food, medicine, and other basic supply ready to go to Gaza, where the UN has said famine is spreading. Oh, yeah, the famine is spreading, and yet they have the food. We have enough to provide food for the entire population for the coming 3 months, they said. All right, important update. Didn't know that, but now we know. But then we have other people from the Palestinian side who do not see this as a win. And I know you are surprised to hear that some people still feel like this is not a win. Okay, here is one of them.
Even if no one intervenes today, if no more.
Here is this person.
Even if no one intervenes today, if no more bombs dropped, if no more bullets are shot against the people in Gaza, the genocide will continue.
Exactly. You see, this is the thing about, some people don't understand this talk about genocide. They feel when they talk about genocide, they're talking about the 62. When I say there is an I remember then, even still remember, you post it now on social media, post it on YouTube, and you're going to get the same comments. Every time I talk about the genocide in Gaza, I always say the imaginary genocide in Gaza. And when I say the imaginary genocide in Gaza, I'm always going to find one person in the comment section who is going to be like, what do you mean by imaginary genocide in Gaza? 62,000 children or 64,000. Remember, who knows the number they will call? 64,000 children have been killed in the past 2 years is what they're going to mention. 64,000 has been killed in the past 2 years. This is proof that this is a genocide. But yet we have somebody like this telling us that, look, even if there is no bomb, even if the killing ends, even if the war ends right now, there is still a genocide in Gaza, because the mere fact that Israel is existing is genocide. Okay, the existence, just Israelis living their life, having a state in that region is genocide. Okay? The day people understand what the Palestinians mean by genocide and how they categorize genocide, the day there will be peace in the Middle East.
Because there are no ways to remedy the destruction, that the seeds of the various forms of destruction that have been planted in Gaza.
So yeah, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It doesn't matter if the war ends, there is still genocide going on in Gaza, right? And then you have, I don't know if I got this here, but we have this person who's complained. In fact, this person was not happy that Hamas agreed to a ceasefire agreement. He really was like, no, this is bad for Hamas. This is what he said. Hamas had made a catastrophic mistake, according to this guy. And it's funny that his name is Mizrahi. Ex-Israeli, anti-Zionist, Arab Jew, freedom, dignity, and solidarity for all. The global South will win. Follow my Substack for more. So here's this person. He's like, Hamas has made a catastrophic mistake a minute from victory. So yeah, according to this person, Hamas was a minute away from victory. They threw it all away. Palestine now depends on Israel's whim alone. This is Oslo 2.0, according to this person. And also there's something that is also interesting about how the Palestinians and pro-Palestine advocates in the West, especially the Muslims, it's funny how they talk about this. They see this as a win. They're like, we won. They keep saying that they won. And my question is, if this is a genocide, how did you win? If you guys if acts of genocide was being committed and you people were being genocided for the past 2 years, and there is famine and there's starvation in Gaza for the past 2 years, how is it that you won? If most of Gaza has been decimated and destroyed completely, how then in the face of this destruction can you guys claim to have won? How did you win? But of course, delusion is the hallmark of Islam and the hallmark of the pro-Palestine cause. is a delusional cause led by delusional people. Okay, all right. So that's all I'll have to say about this. I want to move to the next thing on the agenda, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is a continuation and an update from our doctor friend. Her name is Dr. We read her tweet from yesterday. So, but let's look at this news updates concerning her and her beautiful tweet. This person works for the NHS, or I don't know, but yeah, I think she works for the NHS. She does. These people want me to pay to read this article. I will not. The headline is what is important. And the headline says, anti-Semitic doctor will be suspended before facing tribunal. Moves come after the doctor posted tweet celebrating Israel's humiliation on the second anniversary of October 7. Let me remind us of the tweet that she posted that made her to be suspended. But before that, give me a second, let this load. I want to show her October 7 tweet. Where is that October 7 tweet? This lady is a doctor in the... This lady is not a doctor in the... This is somebody who retweets Anas al-Sharif. Terrorists... oh, God. The great... Where is the October 7th tweet? I thought I had it, but now I have to go look for it. I want to show you all the tweets that she made on October 7. Where is that? For those who don't know, Anas al-Sharif is still posting. Even though he's dead, he's still making posts on social media. All right, so here's the tweet. Was this it? No, this is not it. Well, okay, here it is. Here is October 7. Glory to the breaking of the 17-year-long illegal siege. Glory to the Palestinian resistance. Glory to our martyrs. Then she talked about the Al-Aqsa flood, Palestine, Gaza, blah, blah, blah. And then she posted this picture. So yeah, that's the picture that she posted. And after she made the post, she was suspended and she's facing a tribunal to decide if she will continue she will continue serving as a doctor for the NHS. And I have a feeling that she's going to continue because the UK has a huge fondness for terrorists. So that's an update on that news. And then we have Nigerian. This is an update on the news with regards to the genocide of Christians, the actual genocide of Christians in Nigeria. So the Nigerian Senate has unanimously rejected Christian genocide allegation and is set to engage with US lawmakers. So let's read the detail of this one. The Senate has resolved to engage with the United States Congress to address and counter what it described as misleading narratives portraying the country's security challenge as a Christian genocide. The decision following a motion raised by Senator Ali, which sparked a broader debate among lawmakers on the international perception of Nigeria's internal security issue. The motion came in response to recent discussion in the U.S. Senate and Congress and caused by some advocacy group to label Nigeria as a country of particular concern over alleged religious persecution. In an ensuing debate, lawmakers expressed concern that such narrative, though often arising from genuine concern, are grossly misinforming international partners and damaging Nigeria's global image and economy. Senate President Godswill Akpabio muted the idea that an ad hoc committee be set up to visit the United States and directly challenge and directly engage with American lawmakers to clarify the situation. He noted the need for private discussions, suggesting a closed-door session and smaller delegation to undertake the engagement. There are misconceptions that need to be corrected. We are dealing with a complex terrorist threat. It's important that our counterparts in the US understand the violence affecting both Christians and Muslims. Senator Jumo Ibrahim hopped on the need for Israel's counterterrorism effort to be guided by knowledge-based strategies. He said the approved National Security Summit was part of the effort to develop solutions rooted in local realities rather than externally imposed narratives. It's so interesting that everything they're talking about is how, the US is talking about us and we need to correct the narrative, not deal with the problem, but correct the narrative, because it is more important for the Nigerian government to lie than to fix anything. You understand? Why fix the insecurity in your nation when you can just lie about it? Why fix the problem when you can just lie about it? I mean, the other time the president of Nigeria came out and said that there has been more energy production and more electricity production in Nigeria under his administration than any other administration. That the just patting himself on the back and saying that he has done more than any other president. He's like he's like the reverse Donald Trump. I've done more than any other president. I'm the best president Nigeria has ever had, essentially. That's what he just went out to say to themselves. And this is another example. It's just, let's keep lying instead of facing what is actually going on. And for those who will be wondering what is actually going on in Nigeria, well, this headline captures it perfect. No, not this one. Although we'll still get to this one, but not this one. This one. This is from Spiked. And this is the headline: the shameful silence over the slaughter of Nigeria's Christians. While the media obsess over Israel, Nigeria Islamists continue their years-long killing spree. As you can see, this is a mass burial of Christians who have been attacked by jihadists. Today, towards the end of September, comedian Bill Maher provoked social media outrage by asking a simple question: why does the coverage of Gaza get so much mainstream attention when the persecution of Christians in Nigeria get almost none? They are systematically killing the Christians in Nigeria, he said on his talk show, Real Time. And then that's what he said. I said, you wouldn't think of someone like Maher as self-described apatheist. I don't know, as suddenly becoming the most prominent voice on the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, but he's absolutely right. They are being slaughtered en masse. So far this year, over 7,000 Christians have been targeted and killed for their faith. Thousands were killed the year before, and thousands in the year before that. Sometimes hundreds are murdered at once, as in the town of Yelewat in June, or in the village of Zik in April. Holy days are preferred for big attacks, as the Christian massacre in 2023, when pastors were beheaded and churches burned down in Plateau State, or the attack on St. Francis Xavier Church in the town of Owo on Pentecost Day 2022. Attackers can be terrorist groups like Boko Haram and West African branch of the Islamic State, or more amorphous groups like the Fulani Header militants. Christians are also kidnapped and forced into marriages throughout the country, but especially in Nigeria's northern states. The intent is to kill or displace Christians in large number, take greater control of their ancestral lands. Of course, this is not to say that all mass violence in Nigeria is religiously motivated. It isn't. Many Muslims, especially those who insist that Islamists are also attacked in horrific, many Muslims, especially those who resist the Islamists, are also attacked in horrific episodes, like the mosque attack in Katsina State in August. But the scale of the deliberate attack on Christians is impossible to ignore. The states with the most violence against Christians are within Nigeria's so-called Middle Belt, which borders the Sharia state in northern Nigeria. Every week brings new and terrifying stories of death, but the official line is to deny the existence of any religious persecution. And which is why I wonder how the Nigerian government is going to combat misinformation, whatever that is. Because it's already known. The world already sees you guys as liars. They know that you're going to lie. Anyone who believes you is knowingly believing somebody who they know to be a liar. And there is no reason to believe you guys, because you guys are even contradicting yourself from like 5-10 years ago. So there's no reason to believe any of you. The world already knows that the official line is to deny the existence of any religious persecution. And look at what this article is saying. Such denial flies in the face of reality. Christians are only a minority in northern Nigeria, but they are 5 to 8 times more likely to be killed by jihadists than Muslims. Many northern states also have Sharia criminal laws that mandate death penalty for alleged blasphemy, such as Kano, where Sufi musician Yahya Sharif Aminu have been facing death row since 2020. Sharif Aminu is only still alive because he has been able to appeal this medieval decision. But others, like university student Deborah Yakubu, have been less fortunate. In May 2022, Yakubu was stoned to death in Sokoto State because she was overheard thanking Jesus after an exam. Mob attack against so-called blasphemers usually go unpunished. More media outlets are noticing how outrageous it is that the mainstream press seem to either ignore all this or blame the violence on fanciful causes like climate change. Mere straight talking should be commended and encourage more news organizations to report what is really happening. There are signs the world is beginning to take notice. In the US, there are multiple pieces of legislation in Congress that will put pressure on the Nigerian government. Trump has designated Nigeria as among the worst countries for religious freedom immediately. Okay, Trump can designate Nigeria as among the worst countries for religious freedom immediately, as he did back in 2020. The UK Special Envoy for Freedom of Religion or Beliefs, David Smith, this year identified Nigeria as a priority country. It's time for all this pressure globally to be concerned and sustained, with the recognition that Christians are specifically being targeted. The worst thing that can happen is for the persecution of Christians in Nigeria to fade into obscurity, much like the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Sudan for the past 2 years. Much like the humanitarian catastrophe unfolding in Sudan for the past 2 years has done. What is happening in Nigeria is not a blip. It is what Christians in these vulnerable parts of Nigeria are facing every day of their lives. They have suffered in silence for far too long. And so, it is all over the place, Nigerian government. I don't know how you guys are going to combat this, okay? It is all over the place. It's too late. The world already knows. And you guys should just come clean and say, we'll try our best to do something about this and actually do something about it than the lies. And I know the last time I talked about this, I spoke about how CAN, that's the Christian Association of Nigeria, wrote an article where they denied the genocide happening in Nigeria. It turned out that the spokesperson that was reported was actually not a representative of CAN. In fact, the person who wrote that article was not a member of CAN, has no position in CAN. In fact, the person is just a political appointee of the current administration. That's to tell you how they are lying. Somebody who is not a member of CAN, who is not part of CAN, who is not a spokesperson for CAN, who just works for the Nigerian government, comes out and makes a statement in the name of CAN, the Christian Association of Nigeria, just to deceive the world and make the world believe that there is no genocide. But CAN has come out and released an official statement saying that no, CAN affirms, as you can see from this headline, CAN affirms genocide against Christians in Nigeria and calls for global action. Amidst the recent controversy over religious killings in Nigeria, the Christian Association of Nigeria has confirmed genocidal trends targeted at Christians, particularly those in northern Nigeria. CAN's national leadership on Wednesday, in a statement signed by its president, Archbishop Daniel Oko, said it acknowledged government and securities agencies' efforts in tackling national security, while equally urging the perpetrators of violence to be brought to justice swiftly, clarifying its stance on the recent conversation of faith, violence, and insecurity. The religious body affirmed that many Christian communities in part of Nigeria, especially in the north, have suffered severe attacks, loss of life, and the destruction of places of worship. The association noted that security lapses in the country have remained painful realities and reminder of the urgent need for government and security agencies to act decisively to protect every citizen regardless of region. Over the years, CAN and other wider Christian communities have worked tirelessly to draw attention, both nationally and internationally, to the persecution of Christians in Nigeria, the statement reads. So it doesn't deny it. There is a persecution of Christians in Nigeria. The cry, how its cry for justice and protection are often met with delay or denial. The association outlined national and international effort it has undertaken, but without a way forward. The association has established mechanisms for recording incidents of religious-motivated killings, engaged with international partners, written to the International Criminal Court in The Hague. You know that International Criminal Court in The Hague, the one that is more interested in proving genocide in Gaza. the Khan has written to them to draw their attention to what is going on in Nigeria, all to no avail. They've hosted global Christian organizations such as the World Evangelical Alliance and this other group, and bidding for courage in the face of the enduring insecurity crisis. The association stressed that Nigerians' healing will not come from denial or blame, but from the courage to face collective failure, to grieve together, and to rebuild trust within the citizens' circle. Highlighting its demand, Khan called on government and security agencies to take urgent, transparent, and equitable action to end the killing, safeguard vulnerable Christian communities from displacement, and ensure that perpetrators face the full weight of the law. The association also calls on the president of President Bola Tinubu's administration to redouble its efforts towards providing equitable protection of life for all citizens, and so on and so on. So you can see, even Khan is not denying it. And speaking of the U.S. Congress and those who are talking about it in the U.S. Congress, this congressperson from Alabama has added his voice to the case of have added his voice to the call to raise awareness to what is happening in Nigeria, and he did so, I think, today in Congress.
You also won't hear from Democrats
in
about
the
how
Senate, rather not Congress, in the Senate, I guess. I'm not even sure at this point.
radical Islamic terrorists are currently carrying out a mass genocide of Christians in Nigeria. Think about this. More than 62,000 Christians have been slaughtered since 2000 by radical Islamic terrorists in Nigeria. You heard that right, 62,000.
Yep.
And just this year alone, more than 7,000 Nigerian Christians have been murdered because of their faith alone. You can't turn on the TV without hearing about Israel's so-called mass genocide of Palestinians every day. And yet, when it comes to 62,000 Christians being slaughtered by radical Muslims, it's radio silence. This extreme ideology is straight from the pit of hell, and it has no place in American society.
See, not only is the world paying attention, but they are seeing what Islam does. Nigeria has become a cautionary tale for the rest of the world for what it means to have Islam in their society. And yes, that is what happens, okay? Who is this person? Anyways, moving on. Still on this senator and what he has to say. He's also calling for a ban on Sharia
Something
law
you won't
in the United States generally. So I hear he is making that case.
hear from the deranged leftists who run cover for Islamic extremism is about the inhumane and disgusting ways that they treat women.
True. You will not hear it from leftists. They don't talk about it, or they talk about it like, it's one of the things that I say about Islam that is very interesting is how FGM, for example, is predominantly in Muslim communities. Like 80% of FGM is done for religious reasons. And despite all of this, you're always going to find Muslims claiming that it is not a religious issue, but it's a cultural issue. And those who defend them will be like, it's not a religious issue, it's a cultural issue. They would rather deny, and it's kind of unfortunate to see how the world reacts to Islamic atrocities or atrocities done in the name of Allah. Oh, it's radical Islam or it's cultural. It's not the religion, it's just the culture, we'll be told.
In Muslim countries that follow Sharia law, it is considered normal for women to be raped, trafficked, and forced to marry as young as age of 6. Pedophilia is rampant, and women are lucky if they are allowed to drive.
True.
I'm old enough to remember when Democrats championed the Me Too movement, which was self-described as a global survival.
Yeah, there's Me Too. There's Me Too for Hollywood execs, but there is no Me Too for the princes in Riyadh. That's why many of this, I wanted to talk about this earlier, but other news stories kind of came up, so I didn't get a chance to talk about it. The comedians that went to Riyadh to perform shamelessly, All of them, shameless, spineless, morally bankrupt, no principled individual. All of them, including Pete Davidson, who was honest enough to say he did it for money. You know, your father died in 9/11 and was killed by the Saudis, and years later you go on to perform for the Saudis because they paid you money. I mean, tell me, this is the definition of I have no principle. And that's what you see on the left. Leftists don't have principles. Even what's known that bald white moron, Bill Barr. Like, so lacking in principle. Free Luigi. He keeps shouting every 5 seconds. Yet he went to Riyadh to perform for the princes in Riyadh, who are known for the worst kind of humanitarian catastrophe you can ever imagine, and how they treat their citizens and how they treat women. You know, all of that is thrown out the window because once you see Arab money, you can sell your soul for whatever. I guess that oil money was worth it. Spineless people. Look at what's his name? Dave Chappelle. The I left 50 million and traveled to South Africa, Dave Chappelle, because I will not sell my soul. That Dave Chappelle went to a country where performed for people, all of whom have African slaves in their houses. I'm very sure that every person who attended his stand-up have African slaves at home. All of them, because it's a normal thing in Saudi Arabia. Yeah, we will not call it under modern. Right now, they will not see it as slavery, but it is slavery. Unofficial slave trade going on in that very Saudi Arabia. I left 50 million and traveled to South Africa. Dave Chappelle had no issue with going to Saudi. These people are so spineless, no principle whatsoever. Shameless people, as in extremely shameless people. The world would be a much better place if leftists stop being hypocrites. I promise you. But of course, it is entrenched. That is why they and Muslims have a lot in common. That's why they love each other, because it's the same spirit working in both of them. They are both hypocrites. Hypocrites to the core. All of them. No principle. You know, leftist ideology is to have none. To have no ideology, no principle, no standard, nothing whatsoever. Is the ideology of selfishness, self-centeredness, mediocrity, and the promotion of just stupidity. You know, it's the ideology of those who could not do anything meaningful in their life based on the culture that they've adopted and the lifestyle they have chosen.
Led movement to end sexual violence. But these same Democrats who championed the Me Too movement have been radio silent when it comes to the way women are regularly treated in countries that practice radical Islam. I have yet to hear.
I mean, look at a good example of what he's talking about is Ilhan Omar, the person who is going to tell you how America is bad and how the problem of America is white man, even though she's married to one. And the person who is going to tell you, oh, the thing that I see in America, I didn't even see it in Somalia. And how she will say to people at demographic that she's first and foremost representative of Somalia. In Somalia, child marriage is the norm. We are going to look at that shortly. Child marriage is the norm in Somalia. And have you ever seen Ilhan Omar talk about child marriage in her home country? And how many Muslim majority countries in her part of the world are okay, encourage, facilitate, celebrate child marriage? But of course, the person who has no problem with marrying a brother will not have a problem with child marriage.
My Democrat colleagues who are siding with Hamas talk about the brutal ways Hamas has abused the women they have held hostage since October the 7th. Nor have I heard Democrats who claim to be feminists talk about the fact that some Muslims, countries that practice Sharia law, require women to be completely covered from head to toe.
True.
These women, they're not allowed to get an education.
They're going to tell us when it comes to wearing the burqa and wearing the hijab, we've been told, oh, it's a choice. It's a choice. These women choose it. You know, these women choose not to feel the sun on their face, not to let their hair down, not to be normal people, to have their identity covered in black cloth. These women chose it. You know, the ones in Afghanistan and Iran, they all chose it. It's a choice, right? It's a choice. You know, the same people in the West, the same feminists in the West. This is why I said leftist ideology is the lack of standard. It's not double standard. It's just no standard. It's just that people who claim to have those standards don't realize it yet. You have feminists in the West who are going to complain about how marriage itself is oppression. These are people who are going to complain about how if the fact that a man is manspreading on the train is oppression, and the fact that people are, you know, He's catcalling them in the street, is oppression, and everything that is done to them, how the West is really drenched in the patriarchy, and how the patriarchy has ruined everything. These people are going to talk about it for life till they die. Okay? I mean, we've in the past, I've reacted to so many of these ridiculous videos of feminists just claiming that the world is against them and everything is against them, and how, mansplaining and just men, the breath, just the breath coming out of a man's nostrils is just oppression, right? And how men like to dominate spaces and push women out. They will talk about all of that, right? But when it comes to what is happening in Africa, in North Africa, in East Africa, in the Middle East, and how women are being treated, about FGM and about wearing the hijab and about how these women are treated, when it comes to that, all of a sudden is, it's their culture. It's their culture. It's just how they are, You need to respect people's culture. Don't be Islamophobic. All of a sudden it's that. All of a sudden is, let's allow people to dress however they want to dress, even though they are being forced to do so. All of a sudden, their criticism of the patriarchy does not apply to the Muslim man with 4 wives, one of whom is 14 and 13 and 12. That's how the age goes. Their anger with the patriarchy does not extend to that. Their anger with the patriarchy does not extend to women who get infibulation. It doesn't apply to that. It's just those men who are manspreading on trains in a subway in the UK and on New York. Those are the real misogynists, okay?
Work a job, or in some cases, even leave home. They are barred from gyms, parks, and beauty salons. They are forbidden from traveling without a male relative and are forced to wear certain clothing that covers everything but its eyes. But meanwhile, the men in these countries are allowed to abuse women, have sex with children, or have multiple wives, no problem. Everyone, but especially feminist groups, should be outraged about this horrible abuse.
The truth is there are some that pay attention to it. Let me not be just uncharitable and not acknowledge that there are some feminist group and there are some feminist establishment that talk about these things. But they talk about it in the light of, you see, it's culture. They will never say it's Islam. Whenever they choose to talk about it, they'll be like, it's a cultural thing. It's not a religious thing, okay? And I'm like, I always tell them, like, my response to this is always the same. I don't doubt that it is not a cultural thing. Sometimes when people put out this is a cultural thing, I'm like, you make it look like that something is cultural does not mean it is religious. You understand? There is a culture, yes, there is a culture in these places that encourages child marriage, and that culture is a religious culture. It's called the Islamic culture. That's the culture responsible. It's a culture championed and sustained by the Quran, the Hadiths, and the Sunnah.
Use of women. But that doesn't fit the left's narrative. So you won't hear a peep from liberal so-called feminists about the disgusting treatment of women in radical Islamic countries.
That is the truth. Anyway, moving on, let's talk about this news story from the UK. Besides just the UK, just back to Nigeria. This is something I wanted to. According to GB News, Keir Starmer is under pressure to tackle Christian persecution after Islamist massacre. After the Islamist massacre of 270 exposes blind spot. So what this news headline is talking about is the fact that Keir Starmer is being urged to do something about the Christian persecution in Nigeria. So Nigerian delegates who are planning to go to the West to tackle and engage with the conversation of Christian persecution in Nigeria. You have to do it on all fronts because every Western country is beginning to open their eyes to the things that are going on in Nigeria. You have the Keir Starmer, who I know, of course, will not do anything about it, being pressured now to talk about it. You have this being mentioned in Canada and other places. So good luck with the propagandists that are being released into the world from Nigeria. I wish them all the best. And by all the best, I mean, I wish that they fail. But moving on, according to the UK government, now they could now crack down on pro-Palestine protests and their chants. According to the UK Prime Minister, the government could consider pursuing more more curbs on protest laws, including targeting some of the chants used as pro-Palestine demonstration, the Prime Minister has said. Sir Keir Starmer said his government needs to go further than the measure it announced last week, which will grant police force broader power to restrict repeat protests. Protest group defend our okay, anyways, I don't even want to go too much into that, but that is what we are getting from the UK, that Keir Starmer is planning finally to, treat the pro-Palestine protesters the same way he treats the Britain First protesters. Now, of course, the likelihood of that even happening is slim to none. But there is it's still on the UK. We have fresh update. Sorry, I'm doing rapid fire news, so just bear with me as I'm going through all of them one at a time so I can cover everything that I want to cover. I'm doing rapid fire news right now, so let's just keep going one after the other. Keep up the pace, okay? This is from the UK still.
He had a second knife in his possession, and he was also...
So this is the latest update of the attacker, the person who attacked the synagogue in Manchester, the guy whose name is Jihad al-Shami. So this is update about him, what we should know about him.
Wearing a hoax device on his person. This device has since been assessed and confirmed to be a non-viable device. Minutes after the first call was made to GMP, and as firearms officers were making their way to the scene, al-Shami called 999, claiming responsibility for the attack. He also pledged allegiance to Islamic State. The attack continued.
So did he do that during the 911 call? I think what he's trying to say is that the attacker made a 999 call and told the police that he's responsible for the attack, and he did it for the Islamic State.
Thanks to the bravery of security staff, worshippers, and the fast action of police, the attacker was prevented from gaining access to the synagogue. However, at this stage of the investigation, we are more confident that he was influenced by extreme Islamist ideology, and the 999 call forms part of this assessment. It's important to stress that we look across all the evidence gathered in order to make our assessment of the motivation behind the attack. This assessment continues, and there may be further drivers and motivations identified. We are also starting to understand more about him as an individual, and I'm grateful to all those who have contacted police with information. This remains a live counter-terrorism investigation. Although we have made significant progress since the attack took place, we are still in the relatively early stages, and there is much work still to be done.
All right, so that is the update from that guy. What we are getting at is that he called and he told the police that he was the one responsible and he was doing it for the Islamic State. And of course, we know his name is, look at the facts about this guy. He's Syrian. Is he an Afghan or a Syrian refugee? I'm not even sure. Let me get that right. Not this one. Come on. Come on. Telegraph. You want me to pay for that news story? I will not pay. I will not pay. You'll be free in Jesus' name. Can you imagine Telegraph? What's the meaning of all this? Anyway, so another update from the Telegraph is that the Manchester synagogue attacker had 3 wives. So this is a Muslim by every by every metric. This is a full-fledged Muslim. This guy is a Muslim indeed. a Muslim. Here's them tweeting about it on Twitter. He had 3 wives. I responded by saying he was a true Muslim. So he stabbed Jews. His name is literally Jihad, pledged allegiance to ISIS, had 3 wives, was on bail for rape. Yes, there is that. He was on bail for rape. I mean, this man had everything. He was ticking all the boxes. 3 wives. This guy is a true Muslim. This guy was rather a true Muslim. The attacker was a true Muslim. Obeyed every part. I mean, where again is he from? I want to get all the details. Let me see if I can get it from The Guardian. This is from his wife. The Manchester synagogue attacker was intimidating, aggressive, and controlling, like a true Muslim, but showed no sign of extremism before carrying out his lethal anti-Semitic attack, one of his wives has said. So this is somebody who had multiple wives in the UK. Keep in mind that it is a crime to have multiple wives in the UK. So where did he marry these wives? He did that in the Sharia courts that they are claiming in the UK doesn't exist. That is where that happened. The woman who married Jihad al-Shami is in an Islamic ceremony in 2021 said that the 35-year-old was glued to his phone watching Arabic news channels but did not appear to be on the path to terror. Police revealed on Wednesday that Shami, who was not on the radar of counter-terror officers, called 999 and pledged allegiance to the extremist group Islamic State during his deadly assault last week. His wife told The Guardian she now believed that he was living a lie with his religion. Yeah, he was living a lie with his religion, and that he had never seemed radicalized during their turbulent 3-year relationship. Throughout their relationship, he hadn't talked about any of that, she said. I wouldn't say he got the mindset of being a terrorist from what I know of him, but at the same time, how aggressive he was, how manipulating he was. So his wife is saying he was aggressive, he was manipulative, but he's not a radical. He's not a radical Muslim. He had 3 wives, and he was not treating his wives very well. He was mistreating them, just like Muhammad was known for treating his wives. He was living like the prophet, and now she's surprised that he has gone ahead to do what the prophet did, which is to attack Jews. All of this is coming as a surprise to his wife, to this wife that was talking to The Guardian. What are the likelihood that this woman is lying? Of course, I believe she's lying. Of course, I believe that she knew that her husband was most likely going to do this. Of course, I will not be surprised that she's saying this just to save face and not be implicated in this whole thing. Shami was born in Syria but moved to Britain as a child, led a complex and increasingly chaotic life because he attended Hilton Park before he attacked a Hilton Park synagogue in North Manchester on Yom Kippur last week, leading to the death of 2 worshippers. The Guardian revealed last week that the killer was on a police bail for an alleged rape at the time of the attack. I mean, this guy is ticking all the boxes, all the right boxes. This guy is just ticking every single one of them. He was on bail for rape, but there are no signs, no signs that this guy was going to do something worse at the time of the attack. It has also emerged that he appeared to have had Islamic marriage to 3 women in towns across the north of England at the same time, fathering 2 young children to one of them. The 38-year-old, who cannot be identified, described how Shami was controlling, that's the wife who cannot be identified, described how Shami was controlling and manipulating, admonishing her for drinking energy drinks, encouraging her to go to the mosque, read the Quran, and pray with him, and later refusing her request for a divorce. However, she said that he had never appeared radicalized and was a normal practicing Muslim. Yes. See, Guardian, you people don't understand something. Shami is not a radical. He's not a radical. He is a normal. He is. The truth is Shami Jihad al-Shami or Shami al-Jihad. I don't know how his name goes. But this person is not. And his wife is correct. 100% correct. His wife is 100% correct that Shamil is a normal practicing Muslim. Shamil is not a radical. Shamil is a normal practicing Muslim. Radical Islam is a tautology. It's not necessary. It's like saying sharp tip. Okay? It's like saying half a dozen and six and half a dozen. It's the same thing. There is no. It's just it's just tautology at this point to say radical Muslim. Islam on its own is radical. The religion is a radical religion. It's a religion that attracts radicals. It's a religion of radicals. Okay. So yes. Okay. Jihad al-Shami, whose name is Jihad. The parents look at him and said, yes, we are going to name you Jihad, from Syria. Okay. Who had 3 wives. Whose name was Jihad, sorry. Who had 3 wives. Okay? Who was on bail for alleged rape. Was a normal practicing Muslim. That is a normal practicing Muslim, not a radical. The earlier people in the West begin to understand this, the better. I think that he had barely mentioned Israel's attack on Gaza, which counter-terrorist police are examining as a potential motive for his attack. One witness had him shouting, "This is what you are going to get for killing our children," as he tried to force his way into the synagogue armed with a knife last Thursday. She said, was he this terrorist all along, or was he crying out for help? Who? Yeah, he was. Yes, he was crying out for help. He was crying out for help. That's why he ended up killing 2 people. Who knows? Maybe he did it because of his messed up life, because he's playing too many people. Apparently, he was up for rape with the police. There's so many questions. Did he do it because he knew he was going to get found out about these other women and he was up on bail for rape? Or was he just mentally fed up and drained because he couldn't carry on living the lifestyle? Yes, maybe he was conflicted. He was like Kendrick Lamar. He was conflicted, abusing his influence, stuff like that. And he was becoming suicidal. And that's why he decided to join the Islamic State and do what every normal Muslim had been commanded to do in Surah 9, verse 111. Guardian revealed this week that police officers attended his family home earlier this year, believed to be in relation to safeguarding concerns. He lived by the property in this place in North Manchester with his mother and one of his wives and their 2 children, aged 1 and 3. After the police visit, he told neighbors that his wife had left and would not let him see their children. In an hour-long interview on Wednesday, a separate wife described how Shami had led a double life and initially kept his Manchester family secret. I mean, this person was following the tradition of Mohammed hijab. This is Mohammed hijab, man. There is nothing here that is non-Islamic. He probably was just doing what Mohammed hijab did. According to this separate wife, they met on the Muslim dating app Musmatch in December 2021 and married in an Islamic ceremony the following month. Shami is said to have used multiple online persona, frequently using the name J in one profile, calling himself this person 7, a reference to a comic book devil. His interests include anime and the Marvel series, working out, playing football, praying at the mosque, attending Islamic talks. You wonder where he got radicalized. Islamic talks, ladies and gentlemen. She said, adding that he did not drink or take drugs. Of course, as a true Muslim, why would he do that? The woman, a Muslim convert, said she last spoke to him in April this year, shortly after he passed his driving test. Speaking about their relationship, she described how he had been nice at first, but then became controlling and manipulating and intimidating and aggressive, adding he would be slating me and my children and would say, "Who would want you and your baggage?" That's just essential Mohammed hijab style. It was just being Mohammed hijab, nothing to see here. She said Shami had raped her multiple times, but that he did not report this to the police until after the synagogue attack. The woman said she had now given her first witness account and handed over her mobile phone to investigators. Okay. Text messages seen by the Guardian show Shami refusing her request for a divorce when she discovered he had children with another woman at his home in Manchester. In another, he tells her, "I can do better. Don't need someone with your baggage. And to stop being silly and paranoid." He wrote, I've already taken you back as my wife. You don't get to just disappear and block me. It doesn't work like that." In a voice note, he said, "I'm crazy about you. I can't stop thinking about you. You're the only woman I want in my life, in addition to the other 2 I already have. Alhamdulillah." So yeah, that is the update on this very Islamic man doing the very Islamic thing. There is nothing that he's doing here that is un-Islamic. Everything he did is everything that he has done. I don't know why I keep talking about him in the present tense. He's now in Jannah, enjoying 72 houris. But everything he did while he was on this planet, all of it were 100% Islamic. There's nothing he did that was haram. Everything is halal. Okay? So there is that. He's just following the pattern of the great prophet to ever live. And still on jihad activities in the world. This is going to be like this week in jihad, because I'm just going to go after each, just one after the other, bringing news stories from across the world. This one is from France, and it happened, translate to English now. It happened on the 5th and 6th of July, the night of the 5th and 6th of July in this city. A 20-year-old man imprisoned in this place. He has been imprisoned in this place after raping to death an 80-year-old woman in France. And here are the details of the story. A 20-year-old Afghan man has been charged and remain in custody for the rape and unintentional death of an octogenarian woman in this place. The prosecutor office announced on Saturday, September 27. The event took place during the night of Saturday, July 5th to Sunday, July 6th. So he raped this 80-year-old woman from the night of Saturday to the morning of Sunday. That is powerful. That is very powerful. This man had the strength of 30 men, but he was using all of it on just an 80-year-old. So disgusting and despicable. So yeah, that's the news from France. And for those who want to see the greatness of how Islam treats women, here is this woman, this man, this imam in the West, pointing out what is important in Islam.
Allowing your wife to come online and you guys doing videos. Allowing your wife to come online and you guys doing videos together. And she dresses up and she puts makeup on or whatever have you. What are you doing here? Are you not putting your wife in front of the public for everyone to look at? The asl is whether you wear niqab or not, right? A woman should not be drawing attention to herself. She goes.
This guy is supposed to be in the Taliban in Afghanistan, but alhamdulillah, he's in the West, teaching Westerners how to become like Afghanistan.
Outside, even if she doesn't wear niqab, should she be drawing attention to herself? Absolutely not. But it's
the Taliban approve of this message 100%. Okay, the Taliban approves of this message 100%. Okay, this guy will fit right in Afghanistan. That's his home. That's where he belongs. But for economic reasons, he will remain in the West. I don't know. Like probably from all indication, this person is probably from the UK. So this imam is telling us what really matters. Okay, women projecting themselves and presenting themselves in public is 100% haram. That should not be happening.
Society, though, right? You simp your life away. I'm there to support you whatever you want. Wearing that.
Yes, if you according to this imam, if you allow your wife, even when your wife, now keep in mind that he's saying that even if she's wearing a niqab, even if she's wearing a burqa, even if she's fully covered, the fact that she's presenting herself in public and drawing attention to herself, even if what she's drawing attention to is herself covered as a beanbag, that is a problem and that should not be allowed. And any person who allows that is simping his life away. The hatred that Islam has for women is just mind-blowing.
Is going to grab the attention or dressing something that's going to purposefully make her stand out from the public.
Yes, a woman is not supposed to stand out from the public. She's not supposed to receive any form of attention. Her presence is not supposed to ever be noticed. If you are a woman in Islam and people are noticing your existence, then you are doing Islam wrong, according to this imam. Your existence should not be noticed. It should not be known that you are around. Nothing about you should be noticed. The moment you are being noticed, you are an evil woman. You are a woman that is destined for the hellfire.
Jews. That's intention trying to grab attention. Where do I take this from? Allah said in the Quran, وَلَا يَضْرِبْنَ بِأَرْجُلِهِنَّ لِيُعْلَمَ مَا يُخْفِينَ مِنْ زِينَتِهِنَّ. Do not clatter your feet on the floor. Who is he speaking to? Speaking to the women. You know when they walk, tuck, 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 tuck? Don't do that. This is what they would do in the past, right? They would what? Be covered, while at the same time they would clatter their feet. Today it's not just clattering the feet, it's not just the heels anymore. It is everything else that comes with it. So now when this individual now is portraying his wife online, you are putting her and presenting her to the public for everyone to look at. So you are partaking in what you could call يعني الدياث and whatever have you, right? And of course it is what? Levels.
Powerful stuff. And for those who might be like, is this really Islamic? And where is he getting all of this from? Let me see if I can find it for you. Sahih Muslim 1403A. And this is what the prophet, the great prophet of Islam, has to say about what we just had. Jabir reported that Allah's messenger saw a woman, and so he came to his wife Zainab as she was standing in leather and had intercourse with her. He then went to his companions and told them, the woman advances and retires in the shape of a devil. So when you see a woman, you should come to your wife, for that will repel what he feels in his heart. So a society that want to curb immorality will ensure that a woman is not seen, because a woman comes, advances, and retires in the shape of a devil. That is the great prophet of Islam, the perfect example for all of mankind. And you can see how he was able to dispel of the devil by going and having sex with his wife while she was standing in leather. He could not even wait. And according to him, according to Muhammad, that is what Allah demands of all of them. Whenever you see another woman, even when she's fully covered, you understand? You are seeing the devil advancing and retreating, putting something in your heart. And instead of you having self-control, no, Islam and self-control are antithetical, okay? There are two parallel lines that will never meet. So you can see clearly that, what this person is saying is 100% sunnah. And then we have child marriage in Ilhan Omar's part of the world. So there you are seeing a man with his bride. This is in Somalia. This is a man with his newly wedded bride. As you can see, she's clearly of age, and you can see him very happy. And you can see that the lady is very happy as well. She's as happy as Aisha the night when Muhammad took her and made her a woman, essentially, if you know what I mean. So you can see that this is straight from Somalia, the great country that produced great legends like Ilhan Omar. And as you can see, they are working proudly, happily married. What are the likelihood that is their cousin? You can see many pictures like that. See, that is a pregnant child in Somalia. That is a pregnant child. Look at that image. Look at that. And doesn't that look like women empowerment, female empowerment? This is how you empower the girl child, ladies and gentlemen. This is how you empower the girl child. That is a girl child that has been empowered by the greatness and the feminism that is obtainable in the greatest religion to ever grace the earth. Released by the greatest prophet, the greatest feminist to ever live. The great prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. There, look at it. That is a woman with her child. No, sorry. That is a child with her child. There is, beautiful marriage ceremony. As you can see, the bride, she's so happy. Here is another child mother. This is from, you can see how those are tears of joy, of course. Tears of joy just seeping through her face. See another beautiful marriage. You can see the bride. She's so happy. She's living her best life right now. She's fulfilling her dreams of being, like Aisha. You can see that. You can see this man has found, Look at. I want to freeze that frame so we can grab not this one. We are going to look at this one, but not that one. Look at that. The woman is 25. The mother of all these children, 25. Her oldest child is 17. This is 17. This is 15. This is 11. This is 9, 10, 7, 4, 5, 3. What age is this one? It's not visible. This is 2 and this is 1 and she's 25. This is Somalia, ladies and gentlemen. The great nation of Somalia. Here's another one. Married to a child, proudly married to a child. As you can see, the child is very happy. You can see. This is Islam. This is Islam, the greatest religion. And the news coming out. Before we go to that news, there's a headline that was mentioned in that collage we just watched. And what it says is outrage in Somalia after a man says he's married Miss. Who wrote this headline? Outrage in Somalia. Outrage in Somalia after man says he married missing 8-year-old. Okay. It's not their fault. It's me. I can't read. Outrage has spread in Somalia after an 8-year-old girl who has been missing for 6 months was found living with a man who said he was her husband. The girl was reported missing by her family in the semi-autonomous region of Puntland last September. Months later, it emerged that the girl's father had consented for her to be married to an adult named Sheikh Mahmoud. Or Sheikh Mahmoud. A sheikh married the 8-year-old. Security forces surrounded the man's house last week and forced their way in after he locked himself in a room with the girl. The incident has sparked anger on social media and public interest in Somalia's capital, Mogadishu. It has also prompted fresh debate about child protection laws, as currently there is no minimum legal age for marriage. What was shocking than the tragedy itself are the allegations of abduction and the fact that her family had no knowledge of her whereabouts for months. The chairman of the leading right groups, the Somali Women Vision Organization, told the BBC, "We trust the responsible institutions to take the right and necessary legal action. They will release them. The man is going to go back to his lawfully wedded wife or religiously wedded wife." According to the 8-year-old's uncle, she was taken from her home in the city of Basaso last September by a female relative. This relative said she was escorting the child to a trip to see another uncle. But months later, a video surfaced online showing the girl reciting the Quran. Her family subsequently launched a search for the child. It was unclear why they did not do this sooner. They discovered that she was in Kano area living with Sheikh Mahmoud. Sheikh Mahmoud initially said he was solely teaching the girl Quran, but after legal complaints were filed, he changed his statement saying he had married the girl with her father's consent. When asked by the BBC how he justified marrying an 8-year-old, Sheikh Mahmoud said that the tradition of Islam's prophet Muhammad, along with that of the Shafi school of thought, allowed child marriage. After the BBC questioned his reasoning, citing opposition from numerous Somali Islamic scholars, Sheikh Mahmoud, please, who are those Islamic scholars that you cited? The ones that came out in 2025 and suddenly got this better understanding of the Sunnah. Are those the ones you are mentioning? Those scholars that are not scholars? Please. Sheikh Mahmoud maintained that he would not abandon the marriage. Puntland's police and human rights authority intervened on 25th March, removing the girl from the man's house after her family filed a complaint. The girl was now back with her family. Puntland's police force told the BBC. Additionally, an investigation into the case has been launched, government officials have said. Child marriage remains prevalent in Somalia, according to a report published in 2020 by the United Nations Population Fund and the Somali government. 35% of women aged between 20 and 24 in the country were married before the age of 18. In 2017, this figure stood at 45%. The rate of child marriage is driven by various factors, including poverty, insecurity, and traditional customs that often disregard a woman's age in wedding arrangements. You see what the BBC is saying here? What is driving child marriage in Somalia? Poverty, insecurity. Yes, whenever you are experiencing insecurity, the next thing you do is you go and marry a child. You know, that's usually what happens. Whenever you are facing severe insecurity, you're like, you know what? How do I protect myself? I have to go out and marry a child. And then traditional customs, of course. Traditional customs that often disregard a girl's age in wedding arrangement. Yeah, that's what Mahmoud just told you. By traditional custom, this is what they mean by traditional custom. The traditions of Islam's Prophet Muhammad. If what he's saying is a lie, BBC, if what he's saying is a lie and what he's saying is not true of the Prophet, then he has committed blasphemy and he should be stoned to death or killed, essentially. Ask yourself, BBC, in a society like Somalia that do not take too kind to those who blaspheme the Prophet, why has he not been stoned to death? There are two reasons. Either Somalia has changed and it's now a liberal democracy or a liberal society where freedom of speech is now the order of the day and you can lie. You even have the rights to lie about the Prophet. Either that is the case or what he said is not a lie. Which one do you think it is, BBC? Now here's another interesting news from Somalia. Somalia recently decided to rectify the African African Charter on the rights and welfare of a child. So this happened on the 2nd of October. On the 2nd of October, it was announced Somalia becomes the 52nd African country to ratify charter to better protect child rights. Okay, and this was celebrated all over social media. I mean, when it happened, people were talking about it. In fact, it was being said in Nigeria. Nigerians were like, if Somalia can end child marriage, why can't Nigeria? We were all talking about it. Oh, finally, Somalia has ended child marriage because they've ratified this African Charter for the rights and welfare of the child. And this was reported by Save the Children. Everyone was talking about it. But it wasn't long, and Somalia had to issue a clarification. Okay? They had to clarify because people were misunderstanding them. So the Somali government had to clarify what just happened. So Somalia clarifies position on Africa's Children's Rights Charter. 2 days later, they had to clarify so that people will not be confused about what is going on. So here is the clarification. The Ministry of Family and Human Rights Development issued a statement clarifying Somalia's stance on the African Charter on the Right and Welfare of the Child, following Parliament's recent approval of the treaty. The ministry, let me increase this so everyone can read along with me. The ministry underlined that while Somalia supports children's rights, Islamic teachings and the national constitution take precedence over international commitments, adding that provision of the charter that contradict Islamic law will not apply in the country. Now, BBC, I hope you are going to pay attention. Here are the provisions in the charter that contradicts Islamic law. Now, what will not be permitted is not that contradict the custom of Somalis, not what contradict our long-standing history and tradition. No, is what contradicts Islamic law as we understand it. And here are the clauses of the charter that they reject. Freedom of religion. Somali children are Muslims, and the right to change religion will not be recognized. AKA, if you leave your religion as a Somali child, you are going to die. 2, parental authority remain paramount and no external body can override it. Meaning, if your father approves to you being a bride, you are going to be a bride, and there's nothing you can do about it. The Article 21A, the charter blanket ban on marriage under 18 conflicts with Islamic law, which permits marriage based on religious criteria rather than age. Alhamdulillah. So it does not recognize the end of child marriage. Adoption. Somalia will not recognize adoption in the Western legal form, but will uphold kafala, which is custodianship in line with Islamic practice. Of course, they will not recognize adoption because Muhammad himself ended adoption because he wanted to sleep with the wife of his adopted son. And then the definition of childhood, of adulthood. The charter fixes adulthood at 18, but Somalia applies Islamic definition of maturity. So there it is. The Save the Child organization can now add the editorial notes to that publication, because nothing has changed. Okay, Somalia is still the same, and we are not going to hear anything from Ilhan Omar about what is happening in her home country. That is never going to happen. All right, so these are like other things that I wanted to talk about in addition to the great news that a ceasefire, the first phase of Trump's ceasefire agreement, has been agreed upon. So yeah, thank you all for coming to my TED Talk. Now, there are some people I need to acknowledge. I know that I have gone, some of you, and all the things you have been doing to promote my live stream has been going unnoticed, but I apologize. I'm about to recognize everyone that has been doing great things. And by everyone, I just mean one person. James Jowdon, thank you for the $10 super sticker. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Guys, you can also send me money. Send me money. Somebody is asking, Philip Atome is asking, is adoption really prohibited? Yes, in Islam, adoption is prohibited. Okay, it is prohibited in Surah 33. Surah 33 prohibits adoption in Islam. You cannot, as a Muslim, you cannot adopt a child. Yes, it is prohibited. So yes, it is forbidden in Islam. What else have I not covered? You know what? I'm going to, just by way of ending, because I always end with Candace Owens, I'm going to brush into that side of town where wonderful things are happening. And Candace Owens have decided to go after Josh Hammer. I know many of you are probably aware of that. Maybe I'll talk about it in subsequent live streams, because I don't have the strength for that woman. And I don't even want to keep talking about her, because I want Candace Owens to get to the point of "I told you so," so that I can repeat to the people on the right that we all told you this was going to happen. And then we are going to, then I'll do another live stream about her. I don't want my entire live stream to be about a crazy woman that is dangerously seeking for attention. And like John has posted, please, you can go and support me. I did this in the first live stream, so I'll do it again in this one to demonstrate to everyone how to ask me a question by going to my Buy Me a Coffee page. So on Saturday, like I've been saying, on Saturday, what is happening on Saturday? Yeah, on Saturday, I'll be having a question and answer live stream where I'll be answering all of your questions. If you have questions for me, no matter how ridiculous, go ahead and ask them, and I will answer all of your questions. And how you are going to post your questions is to go to buymeacoffee.com/NIG perspective. You go to the website. Sorry. When you go to the website, when you go there, you put that on your web browser. This is what will open. You'll see my fine face over here. You see another face of mine over here. My face will be everywhere. My channel name will be everywhere. And this is at this corner is where you buy me the coffee. Okay, you go over here, this corner, and then you can choose to buy 1. You can choose to buy 3. You can choose to buy 5. You can choose to buy 500. And then you write your name. Let's say you say your name is Frank Stephen. And then you ask the question, why are you gay? So then when you are done asking that question, or whatever question you have in mind, any question at all, then you post it by clicking support, and then, you then enter your card details, and that is how you post your questions. Please, I'm looking forward to all of your questions. Whether you send me questions or you don't, I'm going to come up with questions of my own, because there are questions I want to ask myself, or answers I want to give to questions that I'm wondering why you guys have not yet asked those questions. So please go ahead and ask the questions, and we'll have a very wonderful live stream on Saturday. On Friday will be our call-in live stream. So on Friday, the live stream, you guys can call in and ask your questions or have a conversation with me about any topic, whatever discussion you want to have, we can have that conversation. And it will be fantastic. So on Friday is the call-in, on Saturday is the question and answer. Okay, Friday is the call-in, Saturday is the question and answer. If nobody calls in, I'm going to go. But of course, I believe that many of you want to talk to me in the live stream. So I'm looking forward to that. Friday will be the call-in and Saturday will be the Q&A. So I'm looking forward to all of that. I look forward to every one of those things that I just mentioned. And I hope that you are doing so too. All right. So thank you all. Thank you all. I really appreciate you all. In the first live stream, I said it and I'm going to say, and I think I said it at the beginning of this one, but I'll end by saying it again. There is no peace without the gospel. I really believe it. There is no peace without the gospel. And if you want to have peace in this world, if you want to really have peace in this world, it is going to come from the gospel. And if you want peace in the Middle East, it's going to come from the gospel. Because the gospel is going to give you inner peace and it's going to give you outer peace as well. People are asking, is it going to be on Discord? No, I'm going to share the link that you can use to just call in. You call in like you are calling into the live stream. You know, if your camera is on, you will see your camera's face. You can have the conversation. The call-in will be like every other StreamYard call-in. Have you seen the call-in where you use stream? That's how it's going to happen. So it's not really like a call-in. Like you can hop on the live stream, kind of. You know, you get to hop on the live stream, and I'll pick one guest at a time, and then we'll have a conversation. And then you'll be done and you'll be gone. That is how it is going to happen. So, yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. I really appreciate every one of you. And until we meet again, peace.